boss Eddie Hearn couldn't hide his excitement after spending a full day inside Terence Crawford's training camp, and his verdict was crystal clear. The undisputed welterweight king is looking downright dangerous. Hearn's enthusiasm only intensified after witnessing Canelo Alvarez's underwhelming performance against William Skull. According to Hearn, it wasn't just Canelo's inability to cut off the ring, it was a clear sign that age may be catching up with him. In Hearn's view, Canelo has entered the twilight phase of his career and might even be approaching retirement.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull, Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished. He still has the desire for those training camps and those fights, but I just feel like that desire might be fading. Not because of his love, but just because of age.
In fact, Hearn admitted that following the Skull fight, he was almost certain Canelo would retire before ever stepping into the ring with Crawford. However, he now believes that a fight with Crawford might be the one challenge powerful enough to reignite Canelo's passion for boxing.
Don't get me wrong, the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking, I want these guys to be fight and actually give the fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose Crawford.
I won't obey.
You
cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'll live in second like my final day. You can't take that away.
He's also going, I'm winning comfortably, I'm not getting hit, I'm not affecting my body, give me my money, thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? So, and I don't blame him for that. But the thing is, when you get the fighters at the right time, and that is a reflection of their age as well. They're more important, but they're more naive, but they're more willing to go in there and have a win.
Adding more intrigue to the moment, Eddie Hearn revealed that he was seated right next to Terence Crawford during Canelo Alvarez's fight against William Skull. It was during that very bout that Hearn had a striking realization. He genuinely believes Crawford would beat Canelo. Despite both fighters being the same age, Hearn pointed out that Crawford appears younger, fresher, sharper, and more explosive. The contrast in energy and movement between the two fighters was undeniable to Hearn, reinforcing his growing belief that Crawford has what it takes to topple the Mexican superstar in a high-stakes showdown.
Because he's not the fighter he was. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of pride for those guys. So, made a huge amount of money. I don't know, look, maybe it was just lightning Saudi, the negative opponent, all this kind of stuff. But I was sitting next to Bud for the whole fight. And I was thinking, I think you'll probably beat him. You know? Don't get me wrong, it's a very tough fight for both. Great fight. But the movement of Terence Crawford and the ring IQ, and he looks like, in my opinion, a younger, fresher fighter. Even though they're both, 36 and 38? Amazing. But Bud is watching that fight going, his ring IQ is incredible and his belief is incredible. He's watching that fight going, I know exactly how to beat him. Now, doing it is different. And the weight disparity, of course, is going to be a problem. But I actually think he's turned into the favourite.
Reflecting on Crawford's career, Hearn also touched on the missed opportunities that shaped, or rather limited, Crawford's resume. He emphasized that Terence never had the chance to build the type of resume expected from a fighter of his talent, not because others feared him, but because the matchup simply never materialized. Hearn subtly criticized former promoter Bob Arum, implying that Crawford suffered from a lackluster promotional push during his early years, a factor that contributed to the absence of marquee fights despite his elite skill set.
Crawford, what, 36, 35, 37? You know? And by the way, he's an outstanding fighter, but the problem is with Bud, and I said this to him on the fly, I said, you never got the chance to build an amazing resume. but he's not going to go down in history, Ricky Burns, like an all-time great. You're telling me that was the best thing? Well, Errol Spence, but even he acknowledges that Errol Spence.
I won't obey. You cannot tell me what I cannot say.
He was never really built on the record. And then because he was so good, and because he was doing everything, going up and up and up, and then looks at it and goes, we need to put him on pay-per-view. Because ESPN, or wherever it is at the time, aren't paying them the rights fees to pay what this guy wants. So we roll the dice on pay-per-view and it flops. Right? The numbers are much better.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But when he fights Jeff Horn, when he fights Posto, when he fights Amir Khan, when he fights Kell Brook.
Are those fights ever really going to say?
Not really, but what happens? But you're rolling the dice, because if you don't hit the numbers, someone's got to make up the deficit on the minimum, and that will be Bob, right? So when Terence does his deal to fight Kell Brook or Amir Khan, he says, yeah, I want 3 million, 4 million minimum guarantee, plus I want my upside on the pay-per-view over 150. It ends up doing 60,000 fights. And the break-even point is 125 top rank, and they're in for 3 million. And then Bob looks at it and goes, absolute dessert. And goes, and from that day, Bob goes, he's a waste of money. Not, I think it's the pressure guy.
I very rarely back against Canelo Alvarez, but it would not surprise me at all.
That said, it was Canelo's uninspired performance against William Skull that ultimately forced Hearn to rethink his earlier stance on a potential clash with Crawford. At first, Hearn had dismissed the idea, doubting whether Crawford could even make the weight and believing he'd be significantly undersized. But now, after seeing both fighters in action up close, Hearn admits the narrative has changed, and the idea of Crawford versus Canelo is no longer outlandish, but very real.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
One
but
weight class.
60, yeah, but you're coming up from 35, 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo.
Yes.
You have to use your movement. If you're Terence Crawford in that fight, the last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
I don't think so. I think that it's much too much weight for Terence. You know, the style was difficult, and you know, people will say it was a poor performance from Terence, but let's just say it was a great performance from Madrimov. You know, I think 168 is much too big for Terence, but like he said, if the money's right, he'll fight.
Echoing Eddie Hearn's rising confidence in Terence Crawford, Andre Ward also threw his full support behind the undefeated champion. Ward stated that he's not picking anyone against Crawford at this point. He emphasized that unless someone proves they can break Crawford's will and stop him from figuring out a way to win, there's simply no reason to bet against him.
You know, big weight jump, dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect to Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I've been against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me.
Adding his voice to the debate, veteran trainer and commentator Eddie Hearn offered high praise for both fighters. While acknowledging that Crawford hasn't faced the kind of opposition fans often expect from all-time greats, Atlas made it clear that the greatness is solely defined by your opponents.
You cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'll live each second like my final day. You
But
can't
I
take
think
that away.
I think everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire. It's in his mind. It's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moved up to weight class, carrying, you know, but those intangibles.
On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson made his stance unmistakably clear. He believes Terence Crawford will dominate. While giving Canelo his due respect as a great fighter, Stevenson insisted Crawford possesses every tool to win. Challenged the narrative surrounding him, arguing that too much focus is being placed on size rather than pure skill and ability.
I think, you know, Canelo is another fighter, but I think Bud is I think y'all
it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud can crack too. So if they do fight, I told you I think that Bud outboxes him. I think he's gonna use his legs, keep Canelo on the outside and make it an easy win. This story I said it before, but I'm gonna say it again. I was in the gym. I want to say I was getting ready for Chris Diaz or something, and he was sparring like a heavyweight fighter. I'm looking, I'm type nervous for him. I'm like, why is he in the ring with this big old dude? And man, I swear he done caught this dude in the shank. Boom, dude, wobbling all around the ring. I'm like, what the f? But it's like, honestly, Bud is very strong. A lot of people don't realize how strong he is as a fighter. His punching power can carry him to the weight class.
Meanwhile, boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard offered a timeless perspective. In a clash of this magnitude, he said, it's not just about skills or tactics, it's about desire. Leonard stressed that when two elite fighters meet, it's the heart, willpower, and fighting spirit that ultimately decide the outcome. If the hunger is there, he said, victory will follow.
Whoever wants to win. You know what I mean? I'm not being funny. Whoever wants to win, will win. Well, that's true, but you know what? There's always a way. Put it that way. There's always a way. There's always a way.
Offering a unique angle, Coyote Davis, one of the few fighters to have trained with both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, shared valuable insight. Reflecting on his experiences, Davis said that stepping into the ring, fighters of the caliber sharpened your craft like nothing else. He acknowledged that Crawford would need to adjust to the 168-pound division, but that's another level. Davis expects a higher
Cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'll live in second like my final day. You can't take that away.
Canelo Alvarez, I've been in the ring with Lady Laura, I've been in the ring with Triple G, I've been in the ring with Adrian Broner, I've been in the ring with Daniel Jacobs, I've been in the ring with Caleb Plant and Julian Williams, and I've been in the ring with almost everybody in the game that's been somebody. Preparation is going to definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 162 pound division. I know he's been at a heavier weight for a while, but he's trying to train and stuff, so that's definitely going to help him. You know, a little experience. But he's got Crawford out there. He's got great experience as well. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had the ability to run, I would just pick Canelo because the way he's playing. You know, he's been naturally like where I want to be. It's always tough for a guy. So I want to see, that many rich guys can represent like that. Anybody can do it.
That view was echoed by veteran trainer Abel Sanchez, who believes the fight is a physical mismatch. While he acknowledged that Crawford would likely enter the ring at around 163 pounds, Sanchez emphasized that size still matters. Canelo, he said, is a naturally bigger fighter who has consistently taken punches from true super middleweights and even light heavyweights. In Sanchez's opinion, no matter how talented Crawford is, the sheer physicality of Canelo will ultimately tip the scales.
Yeah, it's two different people. Yes, Crawford will gain the weight. Yes, he will be probably around 160, 162, 63 in fight time. But Canelo's a bigger man. Canelo is taking shots from big guys, and nobody has done anything to him. So I don't think this fight. I don't think, I've said it all along, I don't think this fight should happen, but the money was there for both of them, so it's being made, but it's not a fight that I would pay to see.
An emphatic victory from Canelo, do you think that he'll stop Terence Crawford?
I think so, yes. And it's not because Terence is not talented, Terence is a talented fighter, just that you're talking about a big man who's used to fighting those big guys. Eventually he will catch Crawford. Eventually he will get and punish Crawford and hurt him.
Responding to the weight concerns, Terence Crawford pushed back strongly. He expressed frustration toward critics doubting his ability to handle the jump in weight. Crawford pointed out that while Canelo lost when he moved up in weight, he himself won when making that leap. For Crawford, it's not just about numbers on a scale. scale. It's about skill, adaptability, and the will to win.
We all know what Canelo brings to the table. We all know that Canelo went up to 175. We all know that. But we don't know how Crawford can compete with Canelo. We don't know. So we know what to expect when we see Canelo coming to the ring or when Canelo fights, but we don't know what to expect when we see Crawford.
You cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, oh yeah, I'm here to stay.
The clip served as a
I'm living second like my final day. You can't take that away.
Crawford looked every bit like a fighter ready to make history at 168.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that, Canelo.
Hear the media, hear the experts talk. You always hear all of them say, you never seen a smaller great fighter beat a big great fighter. You know, so just hearing just all the things that surround behind the talks of Crawford going up and fighting is intriguing.
Supporting Crawford's father said, boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. downplayed the importance of size. According to Jones, this fight won't be won by weight but by strategy. While he believes Canelo has the tools to win, he stressed that it would only happen if Canelo sticks to a well-executed game plan. Even outside the boxing world, NFL legend Antonio Gates shared his take. Backing Crawford, Gates said he expects him to rise to the occasion in peak condition. He praised Crawford's sharpness and ring IQ, saying he has what it takes to outpoint Canelo over 12 rounds. Though he admitted Canelo's power is dangerous, Gates ultimately leaned toward Crawford.
Weight won't be the factor will be how Canelo chooses to make the fight. Canelo comes out there what Canelo should do, Canelo wins the fight. Canelo comes out and does what he shouldn't do, Crawford wins the fight. Control the center of the ring. Crawford is allowed to control the center.
Adding even more buzz, NFL star Max Crosby, a self-proclaimed boxing fan, called the potential clash an absolute dogfight. While respecting both fighters, Crosby gave the edge to Canelo, citing his size advantage. He predicted a razor-close battle, ending in a split decision win for Canelo.
Crawford, Canelo. Yeah, I believe Terence Crawford is going to be in top shape, and I believe he's good enough to outpoint Canelo. But I believe the power will be a challenge, if you will. Right, so I'm going to say Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford?
I think Terence Crawford next month.
As the excitement builds around the potential Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez showdown, opinions remain divided across the boxing world and beyond. With legends, analysts, and even NFL stars weighing in, this fight promises more than fireworks. It's a clash of legacy, skill, and the one thing's for certain. If this fight happens, the whole world will be watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments. You have been. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fight updates. Hit that notification bell so you never miss the latest in boxing news. Thanks for watching.
I won't obey.
Well, the answer
You
is going to be an
cannot
absolute
tell me
dogfight.
what I cannot say. I'm here to last, oh yeah, I'm here to stay.
I think he's a little bit bigger. And I think that's going to work to his advantage when that be one of the best fights.
You can't take that away.
Decision. I think it might be a split.